So in this one, we're going to use Pascal's triangle. Since it's to an exponent of 4, I'll write out Pascal's triangle here. 1, 2, 1, 1, 3, 3, 1, 1, 4, 6, 4, 1. This is the row that we're going to need to use. Those will be our coefficients. So when I expand 3b minus 1 to the 4, I know that my coefficients are going to be 1, then 4, and I'll just space it out here, 4, then 6, then 1. Another thing that I always use to help me remember is if the exponent is 4, you're going to have 5 terms. You always have one more term than the exponent. And one way I think helps me remember that is if I just did a plus b squared, because that I know how to FOIL, I get 3 terms. So I find that that helps me say, oh yeah, that's right. The number of terms is always one more than the exponent. And that's going to be something important. So in this, when I have 3b minus 1 to the 4, maybe you use that 4 to help you remember which row in Pascal's triangle you're going to need. Or maybe you just say, oh, this row has 5 numbers. I know that this has 5 terms in the expansion. That might also be a way that helps you remember which numbers you're going to use. And now I have these numbers. What happens in the first one? In the first one, I have the first term 4 times, the second one no times. In the second one, I have the first one 3 times, the second one once. In the third term, I have the first one 2 times, the second one 2 times. Then the first one once, the second one 3 times. Finally, the second one or the last one all 4 times. So even though these aren't just nice numbers like x plus y like we did before, we can still follow that same pattern. The first one is happening 4 times, then 3, then 2, then 1, then no times. The second one, you start with none of them, then 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. And the exponents in any given one always have to add up to the exponent that you started with. So here, 2 plus 2 is 4. Here, 3 plus 1 is 4. Here, we just have 4. And after setting it up, we now can simplify things. So in this first one, if I've got 3b to the 4, that's 3 to the 4, which is 81, times the 1 will still be 81, and b to the 4, plus 4. If I cube this, I'm going to get 27b cubed, still times a negative 1. Here I'm going to get 9b squared, and negative 1 squared is positive 1, plus 4 times 3b, negative 1 cubed would be negative 1, and negative 1 to the 4 is going to be plus 1. So I'm going to just simplify my exponents first. Now I can multiply and simplify further. The first one's already done. The second one, I'm going to have to go 4 times 27. That's going to give me 108 times a negative 1, so it's going to be negative 108b cubed. 6 times 9 is 54. B squared. 4 times 3 times a negative 1 is negative 12b plus 1. So now we have expanded this completely, and we've simplified it. And I'd like you to try questions 3 and 4.